Hello, come back with me, Andy. Today I want to read this article, Enum best practice in PHP 8.3 by Dogen Ukar. Ukar, I don't know how to pronounce this. Enumeration short enums were added in version 8.1 in 2021. In the journey of becoming modern and object-oriented language, Enum in PHP were a cornerstone of writing cleaner, stricter, strict, stricter,
stricter,
stricter, and robust, robust,
robust,
robust, robust, robust, robust, robust, robust code. In this blog, I want to address my experience so far with Enum and give someone advice. After having a little recap of how to use Enums, we will briefly,
briefly,
briefly have a look at different aspects and argue,
argue,
argue why Enum are better than simple, simply.
simply,
Simply working with constants. Recap. What are enum? Enum exists a very long time in the world of programming language such as
such as,
such as
such as,
such as such, such as such as such as
such as,
such as in Java or MySQL. The basic idea is to limit possible value to given set of value. Moreover, enums can also help in avoiding duplicates in certain scenarios. Enum is in PHP are very close to objects. Technically, they are and bring some possibilities reverse for class. For instance, enums can use thread, right here why you should avoid threads, implement interface, and provide methods. The following example is fully valid yet usable thread in PHP 8.1.
trait,
Quite too much. Oh no. Enum in PHP very close object technically they are and bring some possibilities reverse for class. For instance, enums can use threads. Read here why you should avoid threads. Implement interface and provide method. Mm, The following example fully valid yet usable thread in PHP X.1 and later. Thread X interface. Status implement use X pure and backend enums. When coming best practice PHP enum, we must also address pure and backend enums. Consider the following enum status case active, inactive, pending. This enum is called pure enum since it simply declare it type without giving them a value. If enum case hold a value, they are called backend. Since they are backend by the value once introduced backend enum, you have implement it for all cases. It is not possible to mix pure and backend enums. Modifying the example above result in the following backend enums status string case is have value comparing enums. Enum not only limit the possibilities value, it enable also comparing them against each other. Well, before enum. Well, before enum we were introduced officially, we will use enum object and inst instantiate instant instantiates
Instantiate.
instantiate instantiate spreadly which make the following return false. Interface and enum interface public cost active public cost blah blah blah. My enum implement enum interface. Enum interface this value enum interface constructs enum interface active and active for doom b voice is not same. For area with enum we can say simply do with verse area. With enum we can simply do satu string status active is create a class my enum. How were simulated before 8.1? Before were included, there were different approaches to simulate them. The widely used approach is to work with constant. As we have seen above, the code above serves as a norm, but has different disadvantage. Disadvantage.
Disadvantages.
Disadvantages. Disadvantages. This
disadvantage, 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 disadvantages, disadvantage, disadvantages,
disadvantages. Disadvantages. First of all, the constant hold a value and viewing the isolate. They don't have to meaning. Another drawback is that implement method expect the value. Now something that you declare as enum, a method implement the enum above will be like interface enum interface this uh, this like before my enum some invalid value work with enum work with enum the something. The code above is valid code but incorrect in its meaning of enum. You could pass on of the enum value but also something like some invalid value, which is technically correct. This means you either have to catch this case which lead to more boilerplate code or have unexpected and unexpected behavior. Do you want block comparison between simulator enum and nothing like nominal left corner. Best practice for PHP enum for from my experience. I started in introduce again a lot experience with enum and give to give some insight to them. The last 2 years roughly, I was able to work in code base of different company like Scale, the quality group XPA or BMW and implement enum in different scenario. Here are some point consider as best practice from my experience. After using backend enum, overusing backend enum will end up in the constant based approach of previous approach. So whenever you find yourself introducing backend enum, hold a moment and think about whether you need this really. Instead, try to implement a very small method that translate your value or explicit service that does your work. Don't compare enum against scalar value. If you really need make an enum, don't compare the value of enum against scalar value. Instead, try to create another enum given for your value and work with to enum. Don't blow your enum with up with method. While technically possible, try avoid too much implementation. It enum at all. Enum just should just describe something, not provide business logic. An exception to this rule having simple match, translate, transform, and method. Don't make value part of your business logic. Back at back at back value
backed,
back back back
backed,
back back value should be ideally use create enum value. Back
backed,
back
backed,
back
backed,
back back back
backed,
back 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 back
backed,
back back value should ideally just use to create a num for value. Don't use the value in your logic, as this would massively depend you on this specific value. Neglect you stimulate a num to a num. You should be careful with migrating constant use as a noun. The to the real enum. Well, 90% of them can possibly be just replaced. However, the author might need some more attention. Conclusion: in this blog post, we briefly went through the concept of enum in PHP and show some best practice. While there is more in this context, I just limit this post to what I experienced in the past and think is meaningful to address. Did I forget something? Let me know by leaving a comment. Additionally, I will introduce an exclusive space for my leader. This space will serve as a place where you can address your question to an experienced PHP developer with 10-year strong background in different industry. If you want get notified notified and once the platform is set up to register. Okay.